Stop it!
Hello everyone! Thought we'd just start with the nice choral hymn Christian channel.
In honor of FarCry and its
Yes.
and its hymnal scorings, its religious overtones. Not Christian though.
No?
Do they actually never use the word Christian or any Christian iconography
Really?
at all during FarCry?
Wow.
Yeah, they're
thought
very
it was
careful about it.
totally-
He's actually carrying these things that look like rosary beads, but they're not. They're just beads on a string.
And it's not a cross, it's a T.
It's
very different.
It looks like one of those Nazi iron crosses.
Really?
Yeah, like it actually does. The way they've
Shit.
done it. They don't use a crucifix. They use like this weird sort of iron cross thing.
Wow.
So.
Why are we talking about this, everybody?
Well, we're talking about this because we did an impressions video for Far Cry a few days ago, and one of the things we didn't talk about was microtransactions. And that was because they weren't fully implemented in the review code that we were working with, and they hadn't finalized everything. And now it's all in there, and we're actually able to talk about it. So we want to do that, and we
Yes.
want to do it properly with the first ever episode of the Microtransaction Report.
The Micro Report from Laymen Gamon.
Sam specializes in micro, by the way. So Far Cry came out today, actually. It's coming out.
Yes, today is the day, and we've had a pleasure of playing it for the last week or so.
I have.
Yes.
And I must say, it's excellent. Like, it's really excellent. In fact, I think it's been getting very positive reviews across the board. I think
100%.
Metacritic is in sort of like the mid to high 80s. You know, generally very, very positive reception. There are a few issues with it here and there, but overall, extremely solid game.
Yeah, I would say most aspects of it, like, you know, music, gameplay, story, it's come together very, very well.
It has,
in my
and
opinion.
I actually have a higher opinion of it than I think most other reviewers because I really love the narrative. The story was fantastic. Joseph Seed and his flock and the way that all went down was just really perfectly written.
Yeah.
It just felt great, and I really, really enjoyed it. I've got a review up on my other channel on Skill Up.
I wouldn't watch it.
Shameless plug.
Just Laymen Game is better.
This one's only 20 minutes long. I discussed the microtransactions over there as well. We wanted to just talk about it here because it is important, especially given the fact that we didn't talk about it last time we mentioned Far Cry. Now, the way microtransactions work in Far Cry 5 is this.
Here we go.
So in this game, you're actually going to be earning cash, okay? So there's two types of currency that we need to be talking about. There's cash, and then there's real-world dollars, okay? That's the easiest way to put it.
Sure.
You earn cash from completing missions and from, you know...
Looting people,
looting corpses, clearing outposts, all that sort of stuff,
Yep.
okay? You use that cash to buy guns, attachments, boats, helicopters, all that sort of shit, okay? The entire economy runs on cash. Alternatively, you can also buy, like, all that same stuff with real-world dollars, because you can buy a premium currency called silver bars, and that's that, okay? So, it all sounds pretty standard, but obviously let's remember that this is a $60 game with a season pass,
Yes.
okay? Let's keep all that in mind at the start, okay? As you're playing, you will realize that there's actually not a lot of money flowing to you.
You get like $8 to $10 per loot.
Per
Something
corpse,
like that.
okay? So that's another thing as well, right? When you clear missions, you'll automatically get cash. When you kill an enemy, you won't automatically get money from them. You'll walk over their corpse and automatically get ammo, but you won't actually get cash from that corpse.
And
you have to
that's
loot that corpse.
That's a cheeky thing. That's the first cheeky thing I think that they've done, because if they're willing to, you know, implement the mechanic that you can just walk over a corpse for ammo, why haven't they done that for cash? I mean, that's just a genuine question.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I'm told, and I can't remember this personally. I played the old Far Cry's, but I don't remember. Apparently, it's the same in the other Far Cry games, where you have to loot the body to get the gold. But I agree,
But I
though.
think the landscape has changed significantly in terms of microtransactions. I would say that it's probably lent now towards the fact that, of course, they don't want you picking up money left, right, and center, because it makes the average consumer look at the amount of money that they've got after a few hours of playing and go, well, you know, I need to now potentially buy the real world cash. You know?
I think that's a possibility. If it's not a possibility, at least worth thinking about that. That's maybe it, and I think that itself kind of sucks.
Look, I'm not saying it's definitely that. I'm just saying it. If I was a developer and I wanted to maximize the amount of microtransactions that were taking place in a game,
Sure.
I would totally look at that. I would totally look at that.
So that economy of, you know, get money, spend it on stuff, that's the way that all that works. But as I said, there's not a lot of money flowing through this whole system.
Yeah.
Throughout my entire playthrough, I was really only able to unlock maybe 3, 4, 5 weapons max out of a total of like
Yeah.
at least 20 to 30, you know?
And just for the audience, right, just explain to them, what is the actual cost per weapon?
It's like
$8 to $10 that you pick up, and you might get some money here and there from the actual missions.
It's like $7,000 per good weapon,
Yeah.
okay? And then, you get like $8 a corpse, you get a few $100 for clearing an outpost, you get sometimes like $1,000 for doing a mission, right?
But
So
it sounds like 5 to 10 hours per weapon.
No, you can't put it in those terms. But
No?
no, it's not that bad. But it is a case of like it does require some effort to be able to.
It's not Star Wars Battlefront 2 30
not
hours
Star Wars Battlefront
kind of
2.
thing, okay?
But it really hurts completionists because if you want to get all the items in the game, because there's guns, there's attachments, there's boats, there's cars, there's helicopters. If you want to get all the stuff from all of those different categories. I mean, I didn't want to think about what the grind would be for that.
Sure.
It would be insane.
And it's
Because the only way to make money after you finish the main stuff is actually just to hunt animals. You got to go out like hunting bears with a bow and arrow.
Shit. Yeah, and that's the same problem I found with Siege, to be honest. I found that Siege was a game that was just so awesome to play, but its major drawback was you couldn't even get like a sniping scope on top of it without having to seriously grind.
Yeah.
And then it's just on one weapon, and then it wasn't really built correctly that you could fully experience the game without having to put hundreds of hours into that game before fully being able to experience all the weapons. And I
Yeah.
thought that, if you're paying for a full game, you really should be able to experience fundamental, like, it's a first-person shooter. Like, give us the full first-person shooter experience, I think. And it also then goes into the helicopter situation.
Yeah, so
This
there's
is
one
another thing.
really shitty thing though. So that whole system, I don't love it, to be honest. I think it's not great, but it's not like... I wouldn't put
It's
it in
not
the category of
diabolical.
like super shitty,
Yeah.
like Star Wars Battlefront 2, 60 hours to unlock Luke. No, it's not that bad, but I agree that it sucks. One thing that does suck is that with helicopters, they have rockets, okay, and planes as well. They have rockets. Now, you have a set reserve of rockets that do not recuperate, or they do not regenerate, okay? Your normal machine guns regenerate, but your rockets don't. When you run out of rockets in a helicopter, you get a little prompt that says, press L3, R3 to reload your rockets, but it will cost you $1,000. $1,000 in this game is a lot of dollars, by the way. Like, it's a lot of dollars.
Totally.
And it reminds me of this quote from EA back in the day, where this executive of EA was talking about monetization, and they were saying that when you are low on ammo and you've just used your last bullet in your magazine, and if we were to charge players for a bullet in that moment, they would pay it because they want it when they're in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's when they're most like vulnerable, so to speak. That was playing through my head when I saw this thing with the rockets. I'm like, why would you charge me $1,000
Totally.
to do this? Like, it's crazy.
I think it's ultimately just trying to capitalize on the impulse, and I think
exactly.
Of course it is, but it's for me, it's such a fantastic game. When I hear these things, I just think,
I agree.
It really didn't need to go down that path in this particular avenue. And I want to reiterate again, I'm really enjoying the game. There's so many aspects of this game that's absolutely fantastic. But I've seen time and time again other games come along now that really get hamstringed by the microtransactions, because although it's not a game that, it's not really completely woven in that it'll completely revolutionize your experience if you spend a lot of cash. It will, though, I think, change the experience enough that you've not really got the entire game.
I would have enjoyed Far Cry 5 more if I'd spent real world dollars on it. Let's put it that way. Because I would have had a broader selection of weapons and vehicles to choose from. And saying that sentence is shitty.
Yeah.
It's a shitty thing. So, and again, I echo what Sam says. I thought it was a fantastic game. Like, it was a solid 9.5 for me. You know what I mean? But it's just those microtransactions, they definitely take that score down.
Totally. And I think it's important on this channel that we can say a game is great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we can give it we can roast it in the way it deserves,
Like Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. Like, we were really clear the fact that we thought that was a great game in terms of like whatever.
Fantastic.
But just unpurchasable because it was just a complete fucking rort. Now, I don't think Far Cry is anywhere near that territory.
No.
But I definitely think it's problematic, and I definitely think it's a blotch on what is otherwise like an excellent game.
But I think the good news here, it could be kind of fixed with like even a simple patch if they came around
but
to
they
it.
won't.
I mean, I know they won't, but what I'm saying is it's not embedded so deeply like it was with Star Wars Battlefront 2, where it's like the
I
characters consist of like power-ups that are so ingrained into the microtransaction ecosystem.
The characters are just like loot cards walking around.
Yes,
they're
like
just stacks
nothing,
of loot cards.
Yeah, like you literally have to play a microtransaction to even see their hands. You know? But this is different. This is completely different. This is just kind of peppered on. You know, it's peppered on, but it's peppered on in a way that you will definitely feel it. And I know that you know, developers and publishers want to make money. I totally get it. But we've said this before. We just want them to make sure that they make money in a way that we feel as the consumer that we are still respected. Because if you're sitting in, you know, a helicopter that you've had to purchase, right, or you've had to grind for hours, only to find now that the rockets have to also be purchased, it's like, come on, guys.
But you can also, just to be clear on that point, you can scuttle that helicopter, reorder a new one for free, and it refills it. So you don't have to spend $1,000, but in that impulse moment, if you're in a firefight, like a dogfight, or you're attacking an outpost and you really need some rockets, boom, $1,000.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That's our view on microtransactions. As I said, we didn't talk about it last time because the system wasn't fully implemented. It now is. We know how it works. That's it.
And it's so important. And I think it's so important that we actually do have these discussions, because if anyone's going to buy a game for $60 or $70, they need to really understand, like, what is actually the cost of this game.
Totally.
What is the actual cost? And I think a lot of people found that out the hard way with Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh, cool, it's $70, $60, I'll buy it. And then really, they're like, hey, this is a $1,000 game. It's like, I'm so glad I bought it.
It's like the iTunes terms and conditions.
Yes, exactly right.
Fine, you don't want to be part of this? Then just sign right here. No, you didn't read it! This says we don't ever have to let you out and then we can do whatever we want! Damn it, why won't it read?
But as I said, I love the game. I love the game in so many other aspects. And hopefully they fix it. Hopefully they fix this little area. Well, they probably won't. But you know what? Whatever.
But at least you know how it is now.
Yes.